Okay, I have the dash inside the car now. I've got it sitting on the floor. And I'm going to go ahead and hook all this up. Because all this stuff, this all gets hooked up. So this is the driver's side. And this here, that is the passenger side. So, not as much hooked up to the passenger side. This won't get hooked up. That's trunk release. Mine's a manual trunk release, so I don't have this because that's an option. And I'm just going to have to follow this piece after piece till it's hooked up. Our turn signal switch is hooked up. And that's not going to be an issue. Neutral safety switch jumper. We're going to leave that installed because we're not using a neutral safety switch. The connections for the radio, which will be used. I have an aftermarket radio. And I'll show what I bought for that. It's a stock appearing radio. So we got the dash here. I took a wire brush to this, and I found out that this was just light surface rust. So I wire brushed it as good as I could, and I found out that from the factory it's not even painted. So I did not paint it, but there's all these switches that need to be hooked up. And I might have to take a wire brush to a couple of these just to get a little rust off of them. This is the aftermarket radio I was talking about, which has a lot of connections here. And it has this on the back because it's supposed to be held in place. And it's going to be self-tapping screw goes through the firewall to hold it there, to give it a little bit of support. Now this hair and stuff, that's from my pet dog. And it's a shedder, so got to get all that out of here. And you can see the repairs I did. So I did a repair with fiberglass there. And I took this piece and put it on, this plastic piece over the top, because there's this crack that was breaking the dash. The dash was actually broken in two, and I repaired it with fiberglass. And I'm going to install it. And if I have to come back with the black brush to paint over the fiberglass, I will. I think the only one that's going to be visible is that one. So, we'll go ahead and get started on this. Because like I said, everything has to be hooked up. And I have to find which piece connects to this. Oh, I think this is the light right here. Holds the light. How to select the proper gasoline for performance, economy, and ecology. Oh wow, this vehicle is designed to operate low lead fuels of at least 91 octane. Wow, that's cool. That's something. So that's staying on there. And then we have this original sticker as well. But that's something. That's something. Yeah, we'll just have to get all this out of here and make it presentable. And then put it on and get it done. I do have a new headlight switch, which I need to install. Because the headlight switch comes out and it connects on one side, and on the other side it connects as well. So it kind of holds the dash in place. So that needs to be installed, and then I need to make sure it's going to go up and over the steering column. And I left the steering wheel off specifically for this reason. As soon as everything's done, the steering wheel is going to go back on. So we're going to get started here. Okay, there it is. Pretty tired, had to get help to put this dash in. Now the dash is in relatively good shape, despite being broken in half at one point. So you can see that right there, that fiberglass. That's a repair. Over here, there's fiberglass. And up here, there's fiberglass. Now I'm going to go back through and probably brush paint those black so that I have more control over where the paint goes. And this isn't quite in here yet. I still have a little bit of matching up to do, but it's sitting in there good enough. Now I did get this switch is repossessed off the other dash that I have, and this piece. Now, the reason for that is because this piece here is broken off. This plastic piece that goes around here. Now, it won't be that big of a deal once the gauge cluster's in, which I'll have to get that next and sit that in here. And then that gets held in by some little screws. But only the bottom is connected here. Only the bottom. So I was thinking about getting a little piece and drilling a tiny little hole there and using a little bolt to hold in a bracket there and over here, because we already have a hole there. And once I do that, this will have something to go through, or at least rest up against, and then I can drill a hole through the bracket. You know, at least one hole. That way I'm not grabbing this and pulling this off, because right now only this one screw is holding this in. So otherwise, this all works. Now, the other thing is I forgot to put my dang kick panel in. So we might have to pull the dash again. I don't think we will. But if we do, then we do. I don't think we'll have to, though. But I'm going to put one in, one kick panel, that'll cover this. And more than likely, I'm going to go medieval on it and put some high-temp silicone. Because I'm not messing around with these leaks anymore, man. I ran out of that little tacky stuff that came with it from the factory. And since I don't have any more left, well, I'm not going to buy any more. So, going to put some high-temp silicone because that's readily available. And it works. And sure, is it tacky? I mean, is it really tacky if it works? So, then I bought this metal bracket. This is an OEM installed piece. So this goes over the boot here. Then that would go here. And this bracket will help hold this boot in place properly, and it'll also kind of reinforce the bottom piece, which isn't there because I had to cut it out with Sawzall, and Sawzall is just not something you want to cut metal with, really. Unless you got really good blades, and I don't. So there's that. There's my stock appearing stereo. This is aftermarket. This is retro sound. And I installed it, and I even used my little original brackets and the little piece, the backing pieces. I used those as well. I've got the volume knob and everything inside. And why I wanted this was because it comes with its own USB, and I've got all this speaker wire already wired, pre-wired for it. This speaker wire is already for speakers. And it also comes with these, so that's good. And you could hook up an antenna if you want. I'm not going to. And I've got a bracket on the back that sits on top of the ashtray that actually holds this in place. So I've kind of homemade that. I kind of fabricated that. And then this, I discovered, is going to have to be cut out. This black tape is going to have to be cut because I wired too much of this in my haste to get this in the car. So some of that will have to be cut. This piece I'll have to push in from the back, and all it does is it's held in by little screws. And then I have to find my plate, which I've got a wood grain Firebird one, which I like better than the Trans Am ones. I don't like the shiny bezel. So I like the fake wood grain. And that's what we're gonna work on next. And then after that's done, the steering wheel will finally be put on, and I'll make sure it's straight because we want to make sure our steering wheel's straight. But we're getting closer. We're getting real close. I did find out, unfortunately, that my inner felts for my door panels were the wrong ones. So I gotta wait until payday to get some of those. They're not expensive. They're like 36 bucks. And there's a couple of things that I'm sure I'm missing, like this little backing piece for this. I don't know if I've got an extra one of those. So, other than that, we're done for the day. Okay, she's mostly installed. Got it looking pretty good. I don't have the bolts in, but it looks reasonable. Still gotta make sure this is all lined up. Yeah, I did hear a couple cracks, so I hope that didn't break. But that's that.